and the guy goes phone again, yeah, and he goes to like grab me. The guy's who's driving is on a slowdown moment, yeah. From the he's on a slowdown moment, yeah. And I'm like, fuck this, yeah, because I'm already positioned with two of the limbs out. Boom, catapult myself out. As he realizes that I'm going, he speeds up again to make it more difficult.
Hello and welcome to 2 Beers Till Takeoff, the podcast inspired by conversations overheard at the airport bar. Join Phil as he grabs a couple of beers and chats with interesting people from around the world, sharing expert knowledge and hilarious stories that you won't find in your guidebook. So pull up a stool and get ready for an adventure as we explore worlds of travel and beyond with 2 Beers Till Takeoff.
4 hours in a Taliban headquarters.
I had dog meat in Laos.
Was it golden retriever?
Smack a dirty old smooch on our beautiful fish right here.
He didn't die, but he fell down the side of the mountain.
Hello and welcome to Happy Hour. My name is Phil, and today's guest is one most of you know really well. I've seen this man get headbutted in his home nightclub in England. We've held hands together underwater in Malta, and I am the godfather of his unborn Australian child. Joining us.
Well, I wasn't expecting that to ever come out. We can skip right past that as well now, if you like. How are things going?
Joining us live from Egypt. Welcome to the show, Sid. What's going on, buddy?
Wow.
I throw you off a little bit on that one?
Happy Ramadan to you. Yeah, a little bit, you know.
Happy Ramadan, yeah. You're in Egypt right now.
I knew Ramadan was coming, so I stocked up heavy in the fridge, prepared for what's supposed to be a dry month, just obviously outside of the house, not in as wet as ever.
Right, so are they not serving alcohol during the whole month?
No. All of the like the bars and the liquor stores are completely closed. Even the bars that serve food are not opening during this period.
Oh shit.
So it's like cafes and restaurants are closed. Yeah, cafes and restaurants are closed during the day. They open after the sun goes down, but not the ones that serve alcohol. They stay closed completely.
Wow.
So awful.
So I know you kind of had told me that you had some issues finding alcoholic beer in some places. It's a bit tough to find. Have you been drinking any non-alcoholic beer?
No, I've been avoiding it like the plague, or like the tap water here. Both are pretty grim.
Yeah. I guess just on the subject of non-alcoholic beers, have you ever come across one that was actually good? Because all the other ones, all the non-alcoholic beers, except for one that I've ever drank, has been absolute shit.
I tried a couple, especially in Brazil when I was trying to slow down a little bit, and they were passable in that they were fine to drink. But the worst alcoholic beer I've had is probably still better than the best non-alcoholic beer I've ever had, if you wanted my opinion on the scale.
Yeah, this one I have to give it a shout out. It's from around here. It's from this company called Upstreet. They have a beer called Libra, and you can actually get like an IPA. So the hops I find really mask not tasting the alcohol taste, and because of that, I was drinking it and I was like, fuck, like it tastes exactly like an IPA. There's maybe a little bit off, but like very minimal. And I kind of feel like no other mainstream alcohol or beer company like Heineken. Heineken's probably the best of the mainstream, but like all the other ones are just kind of shitty.
See, the problem I always have with non-alcoholic beer is at the end of the night when I get back into my car and I'm looking down the road, I'm like, fuck, I can only see one of something. Everything's wrong.
Yeah, no, it's and you also just feel bloated. It's not. It reminds you of how beer's not good for you.
There's a lot of this non-alcoholic natural malt drink around. I've seen like 4 or 5 different brands of it around, and it's I don't know why people go to cafes to drink that shit. It's not something I'd want to like sit down with a friend and enjoy for a couple of hours.
Yeah. Hey, Sid, I guess I should just remind the people, I guess I forgot to mention this, but for today's happy hour, at the end of the episode, usually we do a top 5, but today you guys are in for a special treat because Sid doesn't come to the show and not bring a story. Sid's going to be dropping a fresh story, something that the man is still shaking about. And we'll also be doing the top 5. I won't divulge exactly what the top 5 is. It's top secret, but it'll be at the end of the episode. So just wanted to remind you guys of that. Sid, just kind of changing lanes here. For those, I guess, who don't know, I guess it's almost been a year, but I went through meniscus surgery on both my knees. And since then, I've done the rehab, recovered, and, since then I've kind of started to test my knees a little bit, doing a bit of jogging and stuff like that. I kind of wanted to ask you some questions about running because I know that you've completed a marathon.
I have. That's a fact.
So there's this thing called the runner's wall, and it's something that I've read that a lot of runners experience. Can you maybe tell me some of your strategies or how it kind of impacted your marathon?
I think the thing is with runners wall is just, it's going to be different for everybody, okay? Which is obviously an easy way for me to get out of giving a proper answer to this question. No, it's like this, okay? It's going to hit you. Where it hits you probably depends on how good your training was. Because I'm not saying I'm some kind of super athlete. Fuck, I'm a degenerate. I'm out till 5 a.m. most nights. So I'm definitely not, Mo Farah or anybody like that. But I trained hard when it came to it, and I was used to doing, say, runs that were 30 kilometers plus. So I knew if it hit me, it wasn't going to hit me till late.
Yeah.
And it did hit me. But by the time it hit me, I was so close to the finish line. Yeah, I was about 6 kilometers out. And all I was saying to myself, because I'd always set myself a challenge, not of it being something I want to keep doing. It was one that I wanted to do at a specific time. Yeah.
Right.
Sub 4 hours. So when it hit me in my mind, I'd seen there was one clock on it. Yeah. Which was at the 21.1 kilometer mark as you swing back round. Because the João Pessoa marathon is just a back and forth of the same 21.1. Yeah. And they've got a split at the other end. And I knew that I was super fast in the first half, but had struggled through what I'd done in the second half. So in my mind, I was saying to myself, you're right on the button. Yeah, you can't let it slip. So what I was saying to myself is, if you fuck this up now, you've got to train again and do this again in 6 months.
Right.
Yeah. Or if I go to another city, 3 months or whatever. Yeah. But you've got to train again and do this again, because I wasn't going to let the goal slip away in my life. But I hated the training. So what convinced me to run was, right, if you run the next 6 kilometers hard, you don't need to do the next 400 kilometers of training that you do to get ready for something. And I was like, right, it's 6 for 400. Fucking beg it. Go. And in the end, I beat my projected time by like 15 minutes because of what I did on the first split. But I was like, I was smart in that I didn't let myself drop off too much in the second part.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good tactic. Put yourself through hell during the training so that you make yourself go faster and avoid having to do it again.
Yeah, it's like this. If you want to be an astronaut, you don't prepare for it by taking Ryanair flights, do you?
Oh, fuck. All right, so Sid, you're now in Egypt, dude. You're in Egypt. How the hell did you decide to go to Egypt? Why did you decide to go to Egypt?
Well, I suppose that other than the sub 4 hour marathon, 3 hours 45, in case anyone was worried. One of my other big aims in life is 100 countries. And I was kind of just browsing regions that I haven't really hit up very well. And one of them was obviously the Middle East.
Right.
So I put together this little trip of Egypt, the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And I'm still in the first leg of this trip, so there's probably more to come from this. But yeah, the flights worked out really nicely. Wizz Air do a bunch of tidy routes around here, and you can get really cheap flights. Like my flight, I came from Italy. Yeah, Italy to Egypt, it was like 30 euros. Egypt to the UAE, I think I'm paying like 40 euros. UAE to Saudi Arabia is like 15 euros.
Okay.
And the best thing was the airline actually cancelled my flights. Yeah. And so gave me the money back plus a voucher for the cancellation, to compensate.
Yeah.
And then they re-put the flights back on. So I got the flights and the voucher. So I've actually managed to get my way out of here for free as well.
Okay, that's not bad. And have you decided, I guess, how long you're going to stay in the Middle East?
Ramadan's kind of bugging me a little bit, so I apologize to anybody that may offend.
What a time to fucking go.
Yeah, I actually didn't really think about this before I booked everything. But yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't necessarily going to be my cup of tea, to use a nice British idiom for you. But, I kind of got used to it and was getting a little bit more comfortable, at least with Egypt, where it's a little bit more relaxed. And then Ramadan came and I was like, fuck, it's back to square one, because everything feels alien to me, like the way they do things during the day, and how do you just plan a regular day becomes a hard thing.
Yeah. Can you maybe give some insight on what Ramadan's like? So for those who don't know, I mean, fuck, if you don't know what Ramadan is, like, I'm surprised you're listening to this podcast, but like, Ramadan is a period of time that Muslims don't eat or drink during the day until the sun sets. And then when the sun sets, that's when they would eat and drink and replenish. But they only do that during the night. And it's during, it's like a 3-4 week period or something like that.
Yeah, months. I was reading about this the other day. The actual rules on it is you can't put anything in, and the wording of this is in English here, or at least try. You can't put anything into your cavities, which also means basically you can't have any liquid, any food. You can't have sex. You can't even use earplugs. You can't even clean your ears.
What?
Yeah, well, it's something into a cavity, isn't it? So
I guess so.
Probably puts dentists out of business for the month as well.
So people, when did Ramadan start?
Oh, it was about 1600 BC.
No,
whilst
I mean,
Muhammad and his boys were rocking
was it like
around.
a week ago, or?
I know what you mean. You can't.
Fucking bitch.
No, it was 3 days. It depends. It's to do with the moon. So it's actually not the same in all of the Arab countries.
Okay.
But in Egypt, it started like 4 days ago.
Okay.
3 days ago. 3 days ago.
Okay, so that's 3 days of people not having sex, not smoking, not eating during the day. So have you felt like people that, like, this is kind of the tough part, right? That people aren't used to it yet.
Dude, I'll tell you though, I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I should have been, because everybody in Egypt smoked. Like as I was getting off the plane, the pilot was sitting there with a cigarette, and I was thinking, like, my guy, yeah. No, obviously I'm joking, but the people are just sparked up constantly here. It's just, the reason you can't see the pyramids in the morning is because of the smoke from the darts that people were smoking at night time. But they will still smoke. I've seen people smoking out during the daytime. You'll never see somebody sipping a water or anything like that. There's nowhere to get a coffee, but people will still be smoking. That's the one thing they seem. I don't know if that's against the rules or not, but I've still seen people smoking.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, it is 3 days without life sensations as such. So you can see why people are frustrated.
Exactly. And like for you, you're not a Muslim. Like, you're in this country. You're not participating in Ramadan. What's that like, being someone who isn't Muslim in a Muslim country during Ramadan?
Hard.
Yeah.
Like like I've even learned how to say hello, one coffee in Arabic, because I'm Mr. Cultural. And I rocked into a cafe as they were putting out the chairs, and a guy just switched back to me in English, and then I've actually been there before, and I'm convinced the guy didn't speak English before, and he managed to say, no, come back later. Like, the guy was legitimately, like,
Angry.
straight face angry at me for trying to order a coffee before the sun had hit a certain, like, level of the sunset.
Jesus Christ. So how are you able to eat?
So where I'm staying, right, the British Council building is about 15 minutes away. This was done by accident. This was not done on purpose. And there's a little street with a couple of restaurants on it next to it. And that has stayed open. So if I'm happy to walk, half an hour there and back, I can go and get a sandwich or something like that. Because I think they stay open because all of their workers are coming from the British Council. They're because I've met literally no tourists here, very, very few, except when I was at the pyramids. But I'm assuming the workers and stuff from the British Council, because they go to those places for lunch, they've been like, our customers aren't Muslim, let's stay open. It's all takeaway, but you can still go in there and get food, thank God, and a coffee.
Okay, fair enough. And I guess just for those listening, maybe familiar with Egypt, you're in what city again?
I'm in Alexandria, which is in the north on the Mediterranean. It was founded by Alexandria the Great.
Right. And
Hence the name.
And isn't that the city that Alexandria the Great? Yeah. Isn't that the city that Cleopatra and Julius Caesar got it on?
That would make sense. I mean, I haven't checked Wikipedia in the last couple of days, but I think that was what happened.
Yeah, apparently they matched on Tinder and that they just.
No, jokes aside, I'm not going to claim to be a history expert, but obviously this was a city that's got some connection to the Greek Empire, to the Roman Empire, the ancient Greeks, the Roman Empire, and obviously ancient Egypt as well. So it's quite interesting in that sense. However, it was hit by a large earthquake about 500 years ago because it did have one of the ancient wonders of the world. It had the Alexandria Lighthouse, which was very remarkable during a period when it was difficult, I think, to get from North Africa to Europe. And that collapsed during the earthquake, and the site is kind of still there. There's a fort next to it now anyway. But yeah, so historically, not just the rendezvous between Julius and Cleo, but this is a city with a big history.
Right.
But there's not as much of it to see as you'd expect.
Okay. So Sid, can you maybe give us, your take on Egypt? What has been, people respect your opinion. You're a man who's well-traveled. Can you maybe give us your take on Egypt? How does Sid like Egypt or not like Egypt?
So delighted to hear that people respect my opinion. I mean, that might have just been you sucking up to me, but I'd love to think somebody's written in and said that. No, Egypt for me has been a fantastic hit and miss. Last time I came on here, we did India, and it's ironic because no country in the world reminds me as much of India as Egypt does.
Really?
Yeah, like in places it's just terrible. But I think where I'm a little bit older than when I did India and a little bit more experienced and prepared to put up with things outside of my comfort zone a little bit more, obviously I persevered with this and stuck by it and found some good points. I also do just think that generally Egypt is a better country than India from a tourism point of view. I'm sure there'll be a million people, assuming you get a million listeners, telling me tomorrow morning that that's a bullshit opinion. No, because I know a lot of people do rate India. Obviously, as I mentioned last time, I don't really. However, Egypt has had some great positives, which has made up for those difficult periods. I got out the taxi, I was straight out the airport, and I looked at it. Fuck, this place looks like Beirut. And I mean, I know Lebanon's not that far away, but I didn't think it would look like a bomb had gone off here. Are we allowed to say that?
Wow.
But no, it's run down as fucking places, and it's hectic. There's traffic everywhere. It's noisy, dirty. The traffic is insane. I can see why Egypt's actually produced a few good wingers football wise over the years, because you could just learn how to weave in and out just from the traffic. You're watching, they're zigzagging out of cars like 80 kilometers an hour.
Shout out Mo Salah.
It's like Frogger, but like the extreme version. Yeah, exactly. It's probably where Mo Salah learned it, just crossing the roads. So there have been challenges. At the same time, like the people are very nice, which is always my favorite traveling cliche, because wherever you go, the people are nice. But legitimately, as a man who's got a few countries under his belt, Egypt has some of the nicest people, also some of the worst scamsters you'll ever meet. There are a handful of people who ruin it for the others because they're just chasing a buck. And once they get that buck, they want another one. But there are some very, very nice people here, especially if you learn one or two words of the language. They just pop for it. You go and you give them a little salam, hello. And they're like, oh my God, fucking hell, this guy. Wow. You want some free chicken?
Really?
Yeah. Man, the people here are, I've been ripped off for as much stuff as I've been given free.
Okay, so it balances out.
Yeah, it really does balance out. The difference, I think, when I make the India-Egypt comparison is that, because this is more conservative than I was expecting. I thought beer would be, for example, easier to access. I thought there'd be more bars. I thought that people would be a little bit further removed from the religion, like especially when I went up to the beach for a couple of days. I didn't think I'd be the only person chilling in a pair of budgie smugglers. But actually, a lot of people were, they're up there in a full burqa, or, I don't actually know the technical name for the dress that the men wear. And
I don't know.
yeah, so I got a couple of looks, but not so bad. But I actually get more looks when I'm walking back from the gym and I've got my wife beater on than actually when I was up the beach. So they kind of accept it, but it looks like you're being a little bit judged on the street by others. A few people have muttered a few things to me in Arabic. I think, I don't purposely walk around with no sleeves on, by the way. I'm literally talking as I stepped out of the gym and put a jumper on, for example, because I know that, I try to be respectful.
They don't want to flash those tattoos too much.
I've not come here to shit on anybody's picnic. So, but it is a little bit more conservative than I expected. But you can still get away from it. If you go to, for example, the nice hotels, you can go and get a steak and some beer. The beer's going to be ridiculously overpriced, but you can get that. There are a bunch of old men's pubs in and around the town. You've got to Google hard to find them and, speak to some locals and really go and find them. But once you know where they are, you can find places to drink. The food, though, probably is the big difference because you get access to a lot of kind of Western European Mediterranean diet style food, a lot of veggies and stuff like that. If you want to go somewhere a little bit classier. And even just the local food, you've got, I'm not a big foodie anyway, so I'm not going to start rattling off names, but you've got access to kind of more seafood or more quality ingredients than you would do in India. So there are definitely similarities between those two in terms of like the big cities, the stress, the disorganization, the fact that there are basic challenges for a traveler. But Egypt's got those little ways out that India doesn't really offer you.
Yeah. Where it just doesn't smell like a diaper.
That too, that does help.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I was walking down the street the other day in downtown Alexandria, like the old part of town, and I went past there. I don't even know if it was actually a butcher's yet, but they had a few animals hanging off of the roof. Okay, but actually street side, like it was fully above the pavement. You had to step on the road to avoid them. And there was a couple of like little chickens, and it was a full-on cow's head, and like the eyes were, like properly shut and droopy, where it had obviously recently been shot. And fucking hell, I looked at it from a distance. I was like, that's not a cow's head, surely. And I got closer. Yeah. Oh, and the closer I got, the worse it smelled. And fucking, I'm going back across the road. I think I kind of see why people are sitting in the cafe next door drinking coffee outside this place.
Okay, so it still has its smells.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it still has some smells, not like India, but
yeah, fuck. So I guess I got to ask you about what everybody kind of, the thing that Egypt is kind of known for, which is the pyramids. You recently went to Cairo, right? And can you maybe just tell us how the Pizza Hut was? For those who didn't get the joke, there's a Pizza Hut right next to the fucking pyramids.
If you were going to give all the information, I could have just stayed in bed rather than get up to do this. There's a Pizza Hut right outside where the pepperoni is top in there. No, it's not, because there's no pork in this country.
Oh, shit.
So the pyramids, actually, I managed to book a guest house. It wasn't that fucking hard. I booked a guest house in Giza. It was a bit of a mission to get there, actually, because one of the millions of scams that Egyptians seem to be running is the train is advertised everywhere online as like $2. Okay. Some people might listen to the prices I'm about to give. Yeah, maybe you're, a rich accountant from New York and you're like, oh, fucking hell, the guy's complaining about $20. Yeah. But it's the principle when I say these figures. Yeah. $2 for the train everywhere you look online, $2. I get down to the train station, and none of the guys were selling tickets. I've been to all the different desks, and they keep saying to me, no, you go to number 4 over there, go to number 4 over there. And I tried a couple of different desks and I spoke to a different guy. I said, God, number four. Go up there and go, I have a train ticket to Cairo, please. Turns out you can't get on every train as a tourist, yeah? As opposed to every half an hour, it's like every 3 hours. And it's not $2, it's 15.
What?
And it's not like when we went to Cusco where they actually gave us a ticket that, you know, showed that we were tourists with a tourist price, unlike the local people. They actually just gave me the $2 ticket. But how the fuck am I going to argue with these people?
Wow. Could you imagine if that happened in the Western world where people would get a different price based on the way they look? Do you imagine the world would burn? Or the Western
the
world
snowflakes would just melt. Yeah. Right. So anyway, so I get on my 3 hour delayed $15 train. Yeah. Get into Cairo, figured, get a bit of Wi-Fi. It's the central station of the capital. Going to be no issue to get a bit of Wi-Fi. There you go. Just a fucking farmer's market. It's madness. Yeah. Just people running around selling fake shoes, Hugo Boss. Yeah. Adidas. Calvin Klein. You know, some of the classics. I did pick up a pair of loafers whilst I was there, to be honest. $4 for a pair of real Egyptian loafers.
Did you get some Versace cheese?
Right. I got a Versace wallet. That was $3 as well. Knocked him down from $4 because I'm not paying those tourist prices.
Oh, fuck that.
Anyway, couldn't find any fucking Wi-Fi. So I've got my loafers in my new wallet, but no way to get to the hotel. So I get in a taxi and I show him the address. Yeah. And the level of English here is actually much lower than I expected, which has been one of the challenges. And the address was in Latin characters, you know, but I explained to him the road and he said, yeah, he knew the road. And something I didn't realize was a scam until it happened to me the second time, yeah. Taxi driver, because you know you have to negotiate with the taxi driver, it's just a fact, yeah. So you negotiate with the taxi driver, he knows the address, you know the address, yeah. He drops you somewhere close and then goes, yeah, this is it, where is it? Yeah. And sometimes you can't even do where is it, so they'll do that in Arabic, but you get it from the hand gesture, you know, the big hands up. Yeah, and you're explaining like, no, it's this frantically explaining. And they go, no, this pay more. Yeah, and you're talking like you might only get knocked for like $1 on it. It happened to me once. Yeah, the guy knocked the bill up by like 30 cents.
How fucking dare he?
So you are talking peanuts to the well, yeah, but it's the principle that we agreed a price for an address, and I didn't realize they were scamming me till the second time it happened. Taxi drivers will take you to somewhere that is close to your address, but not your address, claim to not know it because it's in Latin, or I assume that's their logic. And then once you've agreed the higher price, they'll take you up
bro,
there.
you fucking grew up here. What are you talking about? You don't know where it is.
Yeah. How do you not know the road next to the pyramids? Pyramids? What are they, the fucking squares? They come up to, no, they're the triangle ones, mate. No, I've never seen them.
Pretty sure they're
never
triangle. Or, no, they're square. They're square.
Anyway, so checked into this guest house, right? And I was walking up the stairs because I was sleeping on, I think it was like the 4th floor. Yeah, and there was a rooftop above us. And I come up the stairs onto the 4th floor and everything opened up. And fucking hell, you could see the pyramids. Shit. The guest house was only €6 a night. So like $7. Wow. You could see the pyramids in full view. Dude, they're fucking massive. They were much bigger than I expected. Seeing as these were built 5,000 years ago, I wasn't expecting them to be that, you know, as big as they were. Sphinx is actually 7,000 years old. It's the oldest structure still standing in the world, in case anyone was wondering. But so I slept in this little guest house, and it was walking distance to the entrance. And you kind of begin, you know, this is the only still standing structure from the 7 ancient wonders of the world. So if you put it together with the modern, you know, it's talking about one of the 8 wonders of the world. Your walking distance, your guest house is like $7, and that's it. Bang, you're in whenever you want. One of the weird things is, we did Machu Picchu together. I spoke about the Taj before. It's great to go early in the morning because you avoid the Americans. Whereas the problem is with the pyramids, I woke up at like 6:30, 7 a.m. to take a look out, and it was fortunate I was so close. Fuck, you couldn't see anything. There was like a sandstorm.
Oh, no way.
You could barely see the pyramid. The pyramids I could see crystal clear at nighttime because of the light show and stuff like that with the luminous lights they've got going on outside. You could hardly see at that time. So I went back to bed and went down there about 10 a.m. But I was there with, I met up with an associate of mine. in Giza, and we went down there together. And I think he's a little bit less versed in the travel world than myself. So when we got in, and it was like nothing I've ever seen in any other country. The guys were fucking pushy. Yeah. Come and ride my camel. Come and ride my camel. Come and ride my horse. Come and ride. You need guide. You need guide. Yeah. I sell you snow globe. I sell you snow globe. $2. You know what the fuck? They have a snow globe. We're in Egypt. But anyway, you can get a snow globe in the pyramids if you need one there. But what I'm saying is, you know, there's a congregation of about half of the population of Cairo in the entrance of the pyramids, all trying to sell you stuff. Sir, do you know the price? Yes, I do, because I've spoken to 15 of you already. I know how much a camel is, you know. And so we hustled our way out of there. And this is how good some of the tricksters are around here, yeah? Guy walks up to us, smartly dressed, yeah? And we just stopped for a second because we had to get out of the crowd. We had to try and get our bearings, yeah? Because it's not well signposted. We were just thinking, oh, where's the entrance to the Sphinx? First thing we want to do. Right. Guy comes up to us, nicely dressed, proper Ray-Bans on, you know, at least they looked as good as my Roy Beans. And it flashes a badge at us, official looking badge, as government employee. Where are your tickets? Yeah. And you need tickets for everything in there. It's government employee, official badge. Give him the tickets. So he starts walking with us. Yeah. Starts talking. And he says, oh, this is a nice spot, and starts to explain some things. And, you know, we're a bit like, yeah, all right. I'm not sure about this. And he says, can I, you know, I'll take a picture of you. I'll do the one for you, you know, where you're holding the pyramids. I don't want any money. I'm a government employee. And I said to him, my phone's only got 1 megapixel. It's like taking a picture of a camera. So don't worry about it, son. He didn't really get the slang that I gave him, but, you know, he seemed to get the impression that I wasn't going to give him my phone. My buddy passed him his iPhone, obviously with a good camera. Took a picture of him apparently holding the pyramids. We looked at it afterwards. Pyramids weren't even in the picture, let alone being held. So anyway, right, that was rookie mistake number one. And we start walking, guys, so he's going to charge us for this in a minute, isn't he? My associate. And I said to the guy, you know, I can't remember the guy's name now. This is a horrible racial stereotype, but I'm going to say Mohammed because it's just a common name here. Mohammed,
most common,
you know, we're not looking for a tour,
name
right?
in the world, right?
We'll explain this to you.
That or McLovin.
Exactly. So, Mohammed McLovin, you know, we're not looking for a tour, right? And he said, yeah, if you don't trust me, you don't trust me. I'm a government employee. It's not like I don't trust you. I'm just explaining to you, I'm not going to pay you. He said, no problem. And so he started explaining, he said, you know, we got to this point. He said, look, we want to walk up to the panoramic view. Because we'd actually walked past the Sphinx at this point. Panoramic views at the back where you can take a nice picture and actually see everything. He said, no, you can't walk there. You can see there's no people walking there. Even the Egyptians are getting the camels. I'll bring you over an official camel guy, you know. And we said, no. He even called over a policeman, full kit with the gun, came over, yeah. Didn't speak any English, but, you know, agreed with him in Arabic and started nodding and stuff like this, yeah. When Muhammad would say like, this is the price, you know, this guy will back me up, and the guy would go, yes.
Price.
Yes. Yeah, absolute fucking clipboard. Right. And I said, look, I'm not interested in the camel. He said, well, you're not allowed to walk up there. Fine, we'll go the other way, right? But he said to me, where's your money? I said, you didn't take a fucking picture of me, sunshine. You're not having any money off me. And I started walking off. He started getting angry at my buddy, yeah? Buddy went to give him like 40 Egyptian pounds, which is just over $1, yeah? And the guy was like, oh, this is toilet paper. I want $20 each. You know, and he was like, oh, fuck this, yeah? So you give him 100, right? It's like $3 and a bit, yeah? And the guy's getting angry now. And the guy's like, my buddy's like, I'm not giving you more than that, yeah? So, okay, he fucked up giving him the phone, but he stood his ground a little bit, yeah? And the policeman's still standing there, yeah? Smile on his face, probably no idea what's going on now. I mean, he's probably seen this fight 100 times, actually, but, you know, he was just completely gormless, no idea what anybody was saying. Standing there with his gun. I can't believe they armed these people.
Jesus Christ.
And, right, so my buddy went to walk off, and he was like, oh, give me back the $1 you offered me earlier, the $1 I called toilet paper. Didn't say that, obviously. And he was like, no, didn't want it the first time, you're not having it now. And it was like, this took us through like the first 45 minutes of our experience, and we were like, this is really, really unpleasant. This is not nice at all. Why would I pay to come here and do this? However, once we broke free of that and we realized the scam of the government employee, which actually about 8 other people tried. It was even on entrances to like tombs and stuff. There's a couple of tombs you can enter in there, and they would try it on the entrance. Walked straight in, stormed the gates. Yeah, ticket stayed right at the bottom of my pocket. Boom, straight in. No, not interested. You can fuck it. You can work for Google if you want. I don't care. Not seeing my ticket. Right. And after that, it was absolutely spectacular. Phenomenal. Because you can just stroll around the desert. Yeah. There is a path. Okay. There's some buses, a bit of traffic. You've got the cameras to navigate a little bit. But after that, you can kind of just stroll around the desert and you can see, especially the 2 smaller ones, you can walk right around them, you know, and it's not peaceful and quiet, but you've got at least a little bit of sanctuary compared to the entrance. So it really got 10 times better as we walked around. We didn't go in, which a lot of people, you know, I'd asked a lot of people before we went there whether it was worth it or not. And it was kind of 50-50, the verdict. We agreed that we weren't going to do it. And I'm fucking glad we didn't, because all of the artifacts have been taken out and been put in the Egyptian Museum, which is in the center of Cairo. It's not in Giza where the pyramids are. Inside the pyramids is literally just a queue of Americans slowly walking around. And sorry to keep ragging on Americans, but it literally was just a queue of Americans in short shorts and polos, you know, with their big cameras. Oh my God, I can't believe we're here. You know, and the queue to get inside this tiny little claustrophobic walkway was about an hour long.
So when you said,
glad we can do that, but the actual.
So Sid, I have a question for you, just because you said that you didn't get to go into a pyramid, but you said you got to go into a tomb. What's the difference? I'm not a pyramid expert.
So the pyramids are shaped like triangles.
No. You pray.
No, there's a tomb there that wasn't for one of the pharaohs. I don't know if it was for the workers. I can't remember what the guy said to us about it, which is terrible, but you know, there was a tomb there. What I actually wanted to see was the workers' houses, the workers' quarters, which we got into. And those are the 2 like additional sites you can see, and you can get to the entrance to the Sphinx. Obviously, you can't go inside the Sphinx. But yeah, those are kind of the 3 things you can do without buying the ticket to go inside the pyramid. And none of those 3 make you inside a small little space crowded with people. So yeah, it's not a big tomb like a pyramid. It's just like an archaeological site.
Okay. So I can't add much to this episode because obviously I've never been to Egypt, but I did listen to Joe Rogan recently, and he was talking with, I think it was Andrew Schulz, another fellow comedian, and he just mentioned, they were talking about the pyramids, and he just, you know how Joe Rogan just spits fucking straight facts. Pyramids, just to kind of, to your point of how big they are, 2.3 million blocks make up a pyramid. Isn't that insane? 2.3 million granite or limestone blocks make up the pyramids.
It's fucking madness. And you know, the thing is, it wasn't just a case of just putting blocks down as well. Like this shit was designed, you know, and they were originally actually sanded down so they were smooth. Now it's only the 2nd biggest one. I forget the technical names, the Pyramid of Khalif or something like this. Anyway, somebody will crucify me for getting that wrong tomorrow. It's only now the top section of that 2nd biggest one that's smooth like they originally were. The rest now you can actually see the blocks because they've been exposed. But not only did they lay the blocks, they smoothed them down, they put details in them and inside, and obviously put the tombs in with the artifact. It's just a majestic piece of architecture. You wonder what they've been teaching at university for 7,000 years, that we're no more advanced then than we are now.
There's a lot of theories, I guess, around how the pyramids were built. You know, some people, I think the way that they're designed, it represents like constellations. Like people, I watched a bit of pyramid shit, and just, you know, some people even speculate that like possibly aliens built the pyramids, because, you know, there haven't been other pyramids that have been built past that age, right? So in your opinion, kind of after seeing them, what's your sentiment? What do you think about the pyramid? How were they able to build this? Slave labor?
I think there was, no, I think it was a few taxi drivers going, hey, should we make a couple of dollars? Hey, we could put the sand up like a big sand castle here. Yeah. A couple of dollars for me, a couple of dollars for you. No, I'm 100% in the camp of slave labor. Not that I approve of slavery. Sorry, just to clarify that. Just that's there's no other explanation for that. You needed a mass workforce to go and do that, and they needed to be completely obedient. I don't buy into this alien stuff because there are other similar human structures, if not completely the same, that we've at least seen afterwards.
Yeah.
I think it was just somebody came up with this idea here. For example, did you know the first organized agriculture happened on the banks of the Nile?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these guys were fucking advanced. Yeah. They were well ahead of their time. Right. And the point I was making, because we were talking about Egypt now compared to Egypt then, 5,000 years ago, Egypt was the number one society in the world by far. Now you look at it, and if you look on the GDP rankings, it's like 126th. Yeah. Doesn't even beat Belarus.
No,
Right?
who's counting?
How many pyramids you got in Minsk? Yeah. Right? So what we are saying is there has to be a reason they fucked up, or to explain that. And probably what they did was, rather than build on their organized agriculture that would have helped them to dominate the world from growing those crops around the Nile, what they did was they took workforce, enslaved them, and made them concentrate on building the pyramids. So they couldn't, grow a massive farm and form kind of modern day supermarkets, like become the ancient version of Walmart. Instead, what they did was they had a big group of slaves who eventually died of famine, and they didn't have enough crops for the rest of their people, but had these wonderful, lovely pyramids that now help the taxi drivers make an extra $2.
Yeah. You could also kind of speak to the fact that now it's kind of like a desert in that region. Like climate has changed, right? But I think that's definitely a good point. It's definitely a good point around that they focused maybe on the wrong thing, and now they've paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, just putting 2 and 2 together to try and make 4 there. I don't think there is a definitive answer. There are obviously a lot of people who know a lot more about this than me, but from what I know and from what I've seen, that was what my brain decided was correct.
Right.
I also drink a lot though, so I could be wrong.
So Sid, I guess last question I have on Egypt is, where do you rank the pyramids on the wonders of the world scale? You've been to a number. I think you've been to Rome.
Love that
you've
question.
been to Machu Picchu, Christ the Redeemer. Where can you maybe rank them? Give us an updated ranking of your 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah. So assuming we're playing by the rules that there are 8, obviously, because the pyramids come from the other list.
8, yeah.
The 3 I haven't been to are Petra, the Great Wall, and Chichen Itza, but they will be done within the next couple of years. So as long as the pod's still running, we'll get a full list in at some point. At the bottom is Christ the Redeemer, because the views are wonderful. Yeah, the views are wonderful. And it is quite easy to get to, which is pleasant. But it is just a statue, and it is slightly enhanced by the fact that he's on a massive podium. You can get better views of the city from other mountains, and you get better views of the statue from one of the beaches, Flamingo Beach, in case anyone was wondering. You can swim out and see it beautifully. So whilst it is still a great thing that I'm really pleased I did, definitely fifth out of 5 for me. 4th, as a sports fan, I love the Colosseum, because I love to think how people were watching sports like in ancient times, and how it was still kind of similar. Like you could even see I remember seeing a plaque going in the Colosseum about how the seating worked. Yeah. And it kind of reminded me of when you go to buy a season ticket for your football team. Yeah. And you've got the different bands and like how much you paid for them. Yeah. And it was like nothing had changed. And you can imagine how much fun it would have been being in there. Just get that impression walking around even now. And it's a very impressive structure. However, it did just lack that little spark of excitement that I think the other 3 gave. Because obviously we're talking about, the cream of the crop here. We're not talking about comparing, the Statue of Liberty or the Eiffel Tower to these things. We're talking about the best attraction in the world. So I don't have much to complain about in terms of the Colosseum. Yeah. But it's just that it's not as good as the other 3. 3rd, I'm going the pyramids.
Oh, wow.
because the boys on the entrance really did just
Sour the experience.
crush my vibe a little bit. Yeah, if it was completely empty, maybe I'd put it slightly higher up. But for that reason, which is not a reason that I need to count against either of the other two that I'm going to mention, I do put it there.
Okay.
Second, this for me was the hardest two to choose between. 5, 4, and 3 I was comfortable with. I'm going to go Machu Picchu. We had a spectacular time. It was really cool. I loved everything there, from the hikes, just even the journey itself is awesome. The only slight thing I count against Machu Picchu is that, for example, it can be ruined by Americans. No joke, it can be ruined by clouds.
By what? By clouds?
Clouds, yeah. Because we got lucky when we were sitting at the top of what's the name of it? Huayna Picchu. Yeah, eventually the clouds cleared and we got our view. Yeah, let alone the pictures. We just got the view because you got there to see it with your own eyes. The picture is the bonus. Yeah, but we had to wait patiently for that. If we'd have been on a day where that didn't happen, the experience would have been, completely underwhelming.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing is with Machu Picchu is it's very mysterious, and it benefits but loses from that at the same time, because sometimes you're not exactly sure what's going on. By the way, I'm judging all of these without a tour guide, because if you're happy to pay $80 for a guy to talk to you for an hour, well, you've got more money than sense, or at least more money than me. Half the time you don't know what you're looking at. Even if you're standing close to the tour guides and grabbing a bit of free information, like we discussed on the Peru episode, which is a great bit of advice for anybody who wants to save some money.
Life hack.
You don't get everything because there's not enough signposted there. However, number one, I'm going to the Taj Mahal, because 2 reasons for this. One makes me slightly biased. The other is, just straight up, because it's not ruined in any way. It is just a fine-ass piece of architecture in its original form, in all its glory. It's like a marble piece of wonder. The shapes, the angles that they've got going on are majestic. I might say this last time I remember. The fact that they bent out the 2 of the pillars so that from a distance it looks bigger is just, I enjoy that kind of thing. Fucks with your head.
That's a really good point. Like, I've never thought about that. That's the only one that's not damaged. Obviously, the wall has some damage. I guess Petra also wouldn't have damage, and then the Christ the Redeemer wouldn't have damage. But like you said, it was underwhelming. But the rest are all kind of damaged, right?
Yeah, I don't think Petra's in as good a condition as it was originally, but I'm happy to be corrected on that by somebody who's got more experience with it. Anyway, the Taj is in pristine condition, and we got there at opening doors, which made all the difference. Now, we were like the only 2 people in there, yeah? And to top it up, it was because we hadn't gone to sleep the night before, so we were half cut, because we'd been sitting in the hotel drinking before it opened, which is what I mean by I'm slightly biased. Just that I don't want to make it sound like you have to fucking drink to enjoy something, but that experience of being in a wonder of the world after 4 or 5 pints, yeah, you're the only 2 guys in there. You can't buy that experience.
No, that's an experience that you don't remember.
And there were a few people, as I said, like about the similarities of Egypt and Egypt, there were a few people that were a little bit pushy outside, but it wasn't to the extent of Egypt. We had more problems by the train stations in, for example, Agra than we did there. Outside the Taj. The Taj was tranquil, and you can see that nice river outside the back. I don't think the river is actually the Ganges. Again, I can't wait for somebody to correct me on that.
The Bay of Bengal.
Like, you get that kind of that view of... That's fucking Pacific, mate. It's Pacific.
It's Indian, bro.
But, you can see, that kind of, that difference between the supremely wealthy building this kind of palace for his favorite wife, compared to like regular Indian peasants washing their clothes in the river. And you can see the 2 contrasts together. Just a top experience.
Nice. Sid, I think we should, let's get into the story.
Right. So, for anyone who's heard me talk before for more than 5 minutes, you've probably realised I'm a big football fan. And
Soccer.
Football. And when what I did when I got here was I googled what teams are going to be playing in the area. Never heard of any of the fucking teams, but half the fun is just going and watching and having a beer or a non-alcoholic natural malt beverage with the boys whilst you watch a game. So when I figured that Haris Al Hadoud were playing on Sunday against Cleopatra Ceramica, those two teams are real, by the way. I figured it would be great to go down.
They didn't even go with like the fucking
not,
Cairo pyramids or like the fucking.
Fuck it, dude. Whoever's playing on my day off, that's who I'm watching. And so Alexandria is quite a big city, actually. I think it's like 6 million if you count the metropolitan area. I think the centre's like 3 million, something like that. Anyway, it's built around the coast, so east to west is a long way, and the difference, like economically, between the east and west is quite big. The west part is very affluent, yeah. It's where a lot of the nice hotels. It's where the Montanza Palace is, where the gardens are, where the nice private beaches are. The east is where the oil refineries are. Not that oil doesn't bring money, but obviously near the refinery area itself, it's like shantytown. Anyway, so I got a taxi out there, and it's miles out, even past most of the oil refineries. Like, I've not seen like a shop in the last 10 minutes of this taxi ride, but you see the stadium. Okay. And so, fortunately, my taxi driver speaks a little bit of English, because the guy working the gate, just even for the cars to come in, didn't. And, they had to have a bit of a discussion. He said, the taxi driver was like, why are you here? And he said, I want to watch Haris El Hadoud, the team. Yeah. And he said to the guy, and then he said, okay, wave the taxi in. Yeah, Haris El Hadoud, man, I got the jersey, man.
Did you actually?
And then, right, so I got Beckham on the back. Right, so he drove in. Right, and the guy was like, this is as far as I can take you, get out here. And I was like, yeah, no worries. So he drove back around. To be honest, we'd only been about 50 yards past the first guy who checked us. And now you could actually see the entrance to the stadium, and I could see in and I could see the pitch. Yeah. And there was a few young lads, and obviously we're Egypt, the third world, developing countries, whatever you want to call it, yeah, whichever is more politically correct for you. Nobody's wearing a uniform. You just have to guess who's working and who isn't based on who looks more important.
Whoever's got a government badge.
And exactly. This kid with his government badge comes up to me and he goes, "You're on the list." Yeah. And obviously when I say this now for the point of the story, I'm going to skip past the mistranslation parts and the fact that nobody spoke any English and we were really just guessing what each other were saying. He said to me, "Right, you fucking cunt. What's your name?" In his best English. Right? And so I looked down the list. I said to him, "No,
Mohammed.
I'm not on the list. I'm not on the list." I'm one of them Hammonds. Right? And so this guy comes over, yeah? And he starts helping us a little bit, and he explains to me, "Look, you've got to put your name on the list." And I said, "Well, where I'm from, I've been to football in maybe 15 different countries, yeah. You don't have to put your name on the list. You buy a ticket, yeah. That's what money's for." And he said, and he explained it to the guy. I said, "Look, I'll pay you." And he said to me, "No, you can't do it." And the guy showed me the list. And amongst all of the Arabic names, there were a couple of Brazilian names, yeah. And I was thinking, fuck. But I was really tempted. Do I go for this? No, because even if the kid can't read Latin, it's not that he doesn't understand Portuguese. It's that he's going to know that my name, Big Sid, does not match Rogério Nunes de Gomes de Souza. Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like, no,
So
that guy's
I was
already
like,
here.
No, it's not me.
He tried to put me in a triangle choke.
So they call that the pyramid choke down here.
Gave me an acai bowl.
Right. So, I said to him, "Look, my name's not on the list." I got out my wallet, yeah. And I was like, "Look, dude, fucking, what do you want? I've come here to watch football, yeah." And he said to me, no, when they in, there was nobody in the ground, yeah? The ground must seat, I don't know, maybe 10, 12,000 people. Can't have been more than 200 people in there, yeah? Army guys, who actually guarding the gates where the cars go next to the clipboard guy. I said to him, look, you know, let me give you some of these. No, gone through. The guy who did the translate, I said to him, let me pay you. No, nobody there would accept a fucking bribe.
Jesus Christ.
But if I didn't want people to accept my bribes, I would have stayed in the first world. I'd lived in fucking Luxembourg.
Jesus Christ. Is that the only place in the third world where you can't fucking bribe people? Is that soccer games? Empty fucking soccer stadiums?
Yeah, apparently so. Right? And one of them managed to get together the two English words that he had, I guess, which was, he made a little square motion at me and went, just TV.
Red card.
Pointing at me, laughing. I don't know what to do. Yeah, just TV, you. Right? So I was like, right, fuck this. I'm going to get out of here. When I first arrived here, I'd already planned to buy a SIM, yeah? Because I never buy SIM cards in an airport because I'm not normally there long enough. Or, you know, because, fuck, I don't care. It's not normally a problem. Planned to buy one here because I was going to do a little bit of work. So I knew I needed to be organized on some days. My flight was delayed because Arabs like to argue with each other. That's not a racial stereotype. That's a fact. You should have seen it on the plane. The air hostess actually had to come over and go, this is not a market. Please sit down. Thank God for the lovely Eastern Europeans of Wizz Air who have got complete control over the situation, because I wouldn't have told those two to sit down because they were about to go at each other. Anyway, right, that meant that my flight was delayed. So when I got to the airport, the phone shops closed. I didn't buy a SIM card. When I got to the stadium, I didn't have one. It hadn't bothered me for the first few days. I'd been knocking around my neighborhood. I'd been up to the beach. Hadn't needed it. Out by the stadium, what is there? As I just said, fuck all. Oil refineries. So I started walking down this main road. Okay. And I found a cafe. Excellent. They had coffee, because obviously you can't get beer in 99% of the places here. So I had a coffee. No Wi-Fi, which was the only reason I'd paid for the coffee. Okay, that's 20 cents I'll never see again. We'll get over it. Right. So I come out of there and kept walking out, and now it's getting dark. Right. And I'm like, fuck, I'm at least 15 kilometers out of town, or at least 15 kilometers away from where I need to be. I'm a long way from home here. I'd seen a lot of people hitchhiking on the couple of days that I'd already been here, because this was quite early in the trip. And so I figured, okay, that's an option if I need it. The day I came back from the beach, I actually managed to catch the bus. Okay. The taxi up there was like a $1.50, $2, yeah. The bus home was 10 cents, and I caught it just because I didn't see a taxi, and I jumped on, and I said to him, like, the one place that I knew where to go, which was Stanley Bridge, which is a big landmark in Alexandria. Wonderful architectural bridge that cuts across the sea in front of a bay, in case you're interested. Would really recommend it. Anyway, said to the guy, Stanley Bridge, and he was like, yeah, that'll be 10 cents. Fucking happy days. So I realized that catching the bus here is really easy, because whilst the city is really long, it literally is just one main road that goes across the beach.
It's like Grand Falls.
However, none of the buses go into the oil refinery areas. So there's fuck all. And I'm trying to flag something down here, like the mini buses and stuff. Don't speak any Arabic, don't speak any English. Nobody's going to downtown. Downtown's not where I'm staying, but it's at least close enough that I can operate from there. Nothing. Nobody's interested. They won't even let me in. Yeah. So I'm flagging down. And a tuk-tuk that had been behind me for a little while and wasn't going very fast pulled up next to me. It's not that it wasn't going very fast. It's that it was, and then it was, and it was, and then it wasn't, as if it had an engine problem. Didn't suspect much. It's Egypt. I saw 2 car crashes in my first 3 days here. Like, they just fucking drive, as I said, they drive like maniacs. So it wouldn't surprise me if somebody's got a broken car, or tuk-tuk in this case. And so there's a young adult in the front, right? He's about, I don't know, 19 years old, yeah? Young adult in the back, about 19 years old. And actually turns out there's a little kid sitting next to the guy in the front. It's probably only about 12 years old. And so I looked at him and thought, the guy's saying, no, get in. I thought he's offering me a ride. You know, we're going in the same direction. He'd obviously seen a tourist, because I looked like a tourist. Yeah. He probably thinks that he's going to get a much bigger fare for this. Him, how much? How much? Doesn't speak any English, so the communication's hard. Says, no. How much? No, free.
Free?
Everybody's hitchhiking out here. Hey, it's free. No. Everybody's, I think everybody's hitchhiking out here. It's a good idea. Must be common. Right, I'll get in. So we get in. Oh, we get in, I get in. I'm on my own. Right? Driving on the road, and it's we're going fast, and then it slows down because it's fucked. Yeah, go fast, then slows down because it's fucked. Right, and things are fine, but obviously the conversation is a little bit tight because I wanted to speak about left-wing politics from 1970s Yugoslavia, and the guy was just shouting at me in Arab. So it was hard. But
oh fuck!
what I realised was after about 5 minutes, we'd at least been going in the right direction because I knew east from west. Yeah, the guy was getting a little bit. The kid was getting a little bit shouty. Yeah, a little bit lippy. Yeah, if this had been in England, I would have just slapped the taste out of his mouth.
You would have headbutted him at like cheeks.
Exactly. You shouldn't speak to an adult like that. Know your place. Anyone who listens to this, please don't beat up your kids. Right. But the guy to the left of me was also then starting to get, and obviously he's an adult, yeah, was then also starting to, sound quite a lot more aggressive. And Arabic is an aggressive language anyway. So it takes a bit of work to sound aggressive compared to the others.
You need like the vein like popping on the side of your head.
And so one of them says to me, and again, no English to me extent, in English says to me, phone. And I'm like, right, red flag. Okay, so I've got my right foot, because I'm sitting on the right of the tuk-tuk, yeah? I've got my right foot now on my pure Egyptian leather loafers, bent out to the side, yeah? And I've got my arm on the top. So I know that if this gets sketchy, I'm in a position, yeah? And the guy goes phone again, yeah? And he goes to like grab me. The guy who's driving is on a slowdown moment, yeah? He's on a slowdown moment, yeah? And I'm like, fuck this, yeah? Because I'm already positioned with two of the limbs out. Boom, catapult myself out. As he realizes that I'm going, he speeds up again to make it more difficult, yeah? So I nearly fucking take a tumble roll as I come out. And I stayed on my feet, obviously, because athlete and all that, yeah? Guy sped up because he saw me getting out. Right, slams on the brakes when he realizes I get out, yeah? And I start walking down the road because nothing too bad has happened yet, but I'm just thinking this is really uncomfortable. And I'm saying to him, no, I don't want to get in. No, this is good. I'm happy here. I don't want to get in here. We're a couple of feet away from each other because I'm on the pavement or the sidewalk, yeah? And obviously he's on the tuk-tuk right up against the curb, yeah? And the three of them now are leaning over, shouting stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm not interested in this, right? And so they speed up a little bit, and I'm still going along thinking, this is odd. This has been really, really, really weird. Like everything from not getting into the football game to not finding Wi-Fi to getting in this sketchy tuk-tuk. This has been a really weird day. 20 meters, 50 meters further down the road, they've practically pulled down to a stop, right? And the guy and I'm nearly level with him now, and the guy who was in the back jumps out, yeah? Pulls out from his back, big fucking 6-inch rusty blade, yeah?
Jesus
and honestly,
Christ.
You could tell that he'd been using that on people for years because it was, you couldn't sell that to somebody. It was used, that the pharaohs could have been using that. You could. It was like the dumbbells in the gym that I use here. You could see the rust coming off of it, right? And it was about 6 inches or so, sizable fucking blade. And I've had knives pulled on me before, but normally I'm pissed, right? And you can't drink much here, so I wasn't drunk, and I was like, oh my fuck, right? And I put my hands and said, no, bro, I don't want anything to do with this, yeah. And he took a couple of steps towards me, closed the gap, and I was like, shit, this guy's got a big blade now. He's a foot or two from me, yeah, not much more than an arm's length. Fuck it, I gotta go. Sprinted off in the other direction, yeah. Did a quick fucking U-turn so that I was on the other side of the road because there was like a curb that no way the tuk-tuk could have covered between going from the right and going from the left. Yes, I sprinted across like in the Mo Salah traffic, yeah, doing a little zigzag. And I was running, and they were watching, and they were going along, driving along with me, yeah. And the guy obviously got back and I took it, and I was like, fuck. Man, I was an arm's length
Marathon
away from
training
like getting
engage.
stamped. Yeah, I was like an arm's length away from getting stamped in rural Alexandria. Thank God I did that fucking marathon training, which we spoke about earlier, because I fucking just sprinted, yeah. And because the tuk-tuk was going fast and going slow, going fast and going slow, I was actually, I don't know if they did this on purpose and probably because they just realized that I wasn't going to come back that side of the road. But I actually managed to get in front of them far enough that when I needed to turn off or when I felt it was right to turn off, I couldn't actually see them anymore. But fucking hell, in my loafers, yeah, in like 25-degree heat, it must have sprinted about 3 kilometers. Yeah, and there's not a lot of lights or anything. There's no streets in this area. So I'm running literally across this curb that separates the 2 lanes because I know he's not going to drift into the fast lane because he can't. I'm just fucking pounding it, looking for civilization. Man, and I'm looking back constantly like, fuck, what do I do? And as I started to see some cafes, I was like, right, has anybody got Wi-Fi? No, nobody's got Wi-Fi. Anybody here speak English? No, nobody speaks English. Whole time I'm looking over my shoulder, fuck, this kid's going to come back in a minute. This kid's going to come back. What else have they got to do today? Nothing. They probably can't get into the football stadium either. The only thing they're looking for is me. Yeah, exactly. The big bucks. Right. So I'm looking over and fucking nothing. And eventually I finally see a taxi, a regular taxi. And I get in. The first time in my life, I didn't say, put it on the meter. I didn't say, oh, what's the price here? I just said to him, fucking go, drive. And he started chatting. I said, no, just fucking go. Right. Most expensive taxi I ever got in my life. Right. Drove me for about 20 minutes. Was more than a 2-hour taxi I caught in Germany, for example. My God, it was the best money I ever spent to get out of that fucking situation. I thought I was done. I've had a knife pulled on me 4 times in my life. Yeah, that was by far and away the scariest. Yeah. But fortunately, when he got to downtown, I knew where the bar was and they were open. So I sat down and fucking pounded tequila until I couldn't see anymore because I wasn't having any more that day. I was finished.
Fuck, dude, that's fucking intense, man. You know what I think that is so funny? Is that literally the funniest thing about this podcast is that I know that you still haven't learned that when somebody says that something's free, it's not free. I remember one other occurrence that happened in France, but we won't get into that. But what we will get into is the top 5. So, guys, we said that this would be a bit of a secret. So here it is. This top 5 is going to be the worst celebrities to be stuck on an island with.
Right. At number 1, I'm going to pick... I know I probably might pick 1 or 2 that are not familiar to everybody. Maybe more familiar to a few of the English listeners. But this guy, I think, has cracked America the other side of the pond. So, maybe if you will, I've got James Corden.
Oh, dude.
Who I think is really...
Yeah.
Did you have him on your list?
I had him on my list and I took him off.
Unfunny. He's so unfunny, such an unpersonality. It's like, anything that he can get paid for, he'll do, and he's just not amusing whatsoever. He's so smarmy. I just really don't enjoy anything to do with him whatsoever. A terrible, terrible personality that I would hate to be stuck with.
He also has a reputation for like being a fucking dickhead. Like I've read some articles and stuff like that of some of the staff and people that work around him just describing how it is to work with him and just saying that he's an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, I've heard similar things. So absolutely,
I don't know the guy, so I can't say,
with.
But that's what the articles say.
Well, I don't think we know any of the 10 people we're about to list, but we are kind of making assumptions here. Maybe the people the nearest and dearest to these people are going to say, oh, this guy's lovely. This woman's, yeah, she's really nice. But at least from what we've seen of them, we are going to have to say they're twats. So James Corden,
James Corden doesn't look like a guy who's going to go get some extra firewood. Let's just say when you're stuck on an island with him, doesn't seem the type.
No.
All right, so I'm gonna go with my number one. My number one, maybe, I don't know if it's an obvious pick for the worst person to be stuck on an island with, or worst celebrity to be stuck on an island with, but I'm gonna go Jeff Epstein. He's got a lot of experience on islands. He's not really well known for his for being a really good host on islands. So for that reason, I am going to say he would be one of the worst celebrities to be stuck on an island with. And my number two, which I would say I think is equally as bad as the first one, and I'm gonna go with Ginger Spice. Reason being is because that fucking Ginger Spice broke up the Spice Girls, man. I was really upset about it as a kid, and I just haven't really talked to my therapist about it. So I'm still really upset about it. So fuck you, Ginger Spice. You guys had a good thing going. Great movie as well. But yeah, you guys since then have broken up. So I'm really still upset. So it's on to you, Sid.
Fuck, pressure's on now as well. Jesus, after that. Yeah, I'm taking Kim Kardashian.
Oh,
Because can you just imagine how boring the conversation would be? Oh my God, what contour have you got on? Oh my God, what BB cream are you using? Yeah. Oh man, it would be fucking intolerable.
plus then you'd have to see her without makeup.
Well, yeah, depends how much she brings with her to the deserted island. I mean, to be honest, what she's
It'll
probably
run
got
out
on her
eventually.
face would take a few months to melt. Yeah, it would take a few months to melt just what she's already got on her face when she arrives. So
Right.
depends how long you're stuck for. But yeah, it would be insufferable. I think I'd actually rather be stuck in a Saudi prison for 6 months than spend half an hour with her.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, don't.
Oh fuck. All right, what's your number three?
Oh, number three, I've got another English guy, though I think he might be famous in America. I've got Piers Morgan, who literally, if social media was a person, it would be Piers Morgan. Because it's literally, what is the stupidest opinion I can come up with? Or what is the most offensive opinion I could say? Or what can I say that will make people angry? But that's what he says.
Yeah.
He seems to
There's no
have
opinion.
literally he has no real life intelligence or opinion. He just states, it's like listening to a Twitter feed.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible.
It's a troll. A British troll.
A British troll, exactly. Should be living under a bridge.
That's funny. My number three is going to be Will Smith. Will Smith, for me, is somebody who I think that I had a lot of respect for when I was a younger man. You know, watched him on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, watched him on his come up, you know, a lot of movies that he's done, and he's been just, you know, for a good period of his career, he was just a solid person. But I think in the last couple years, how he's kind of reacted around his wife, his kids are just absolute assholes. I don't know if I want to be stuck with this beta bitch on a fucking island. Like, this guy's going to be asking me to start the fire. He's going to be asking me to go and hunt for food. Like, this guy is such a beta. He lets his kids' friends bang his wife. Like, I'm sorry, but that's too much. Can't deal with Will Smith anymore. He's he's banned from the Oscars, and I have no respect for him anymore.
It's funny, I nearly picked Jaden Smith for similar reasons, but then I took him off the list.
Yeah, and then so my number four is a very popular figure called Genghis Khan. He's he's the exact opposite. He's the exact opposite reason why I picked Will Smith. Because this motherfucker started from Mongolia and basically stretched out his kingdom all the way to almost fucking Italy. This guy, at a certain point in time, killed 10% of the world's population. This guy is beyond alpha. And I would need for him to go and kill the animals on the island to feed me, because he is the alpha. So for the exact reason why I picked Will Smith for being a beta, Genghis Khan is a fucking alpha. The guy is, an amazing swordsman, amazing on the arrows. I can't compete with that shit, and I don't know if I want to be the beta on the island. So therefore I'm picking Genghis Khan.
Number 4, I've got Chris Brown. Because I've got one woman on the list, and I'm just thinking, how annoying would it be to be woken up at like 4 o'clock in the morning just because Chris Brown is busy beating people up, predominantly Kim Kardashian on my island. I'm just thinking that, I need to get some sleep. This is going to be a stressful experience. I don't need Chris Brown slaps waking me up, so definitely on my list. And he doesn't have any redeeming qualities to make up to that.
I also don't think he's a good artist. Is that controversial?
No, because he's also not a good
I can't name a
huntsman,
song.
so.
I can't name a song he sung, because as soon as he punched a woman, I don't consider him a fucking anything.
Well, that's the kind of thing I expect from my dad, not from the artists I listen to.
Oh my god! Karen, I hope you're not listening. Jesus Christ.
Well, it was darker than I expected to go today. At number 5, actually, I've got Kim Jong-un. For similar reasons that you've got Genghis Khan. Not because I assumed that he would just be a fantastic arrowsman and, he'd beat me in a duel. It's just because if supplies got a little bit low, he would be looking to monopolize things, to the point where he had like 99% of the rations. And me and Kim Kardashian and James Corden, we'd be sharing the last 1%. I don't know how much of that James Corden would want, probably a lot. So you're talking about having a fraction of 1% because James Corden would be hungry and Kim Jong-un won't share with everybody else.
Well, they're the same size.
That's a tough situation to be in. Yeah. So not for me, that one. I'd avoid them both.
Yeah, the only thing though is his dad didn't build up the hierarchy, or his ancestors haven't built the hierarchy on this island. So maybe you'd get away with, him being an alright guy because of that, because he doesn't just step into a dictatorship, right? He's got to earn it.
Well, yeah, you might catch him on that. Like, sorry, son, you don't run this place. He'd be like, yeah, sorry, yeah, got it. Yeah, I'll step in line now.
Where are your nukes?
Might work.
Where are your nukes? Oh fuck, that's funny. Okay, so my number 5. So this is my number 5. And I'm not meaning to be offensive by this. I just literally think that if I'm stuck on an island with this person, the interaction wouldn't be the best. So my number 5 is Helen Keller. You know what I mean? If you're stuck on a deserted island by yourself, or with one other person, you'd hope that person can communicate with you. Not to diminish what Helen Keller's done, but she's not. She's a mute. She's a deaf. She's blind. I feel like it'd be a lot of work for me to help her out, but also she's not really bringing any value to me. This is a survival situation, and I'm gonna say, like, Helen, can you go get some firewood? Can you, wash our clothes? And just do some camp shit. And she won't even hear me. So I think it would just be a nightmare from the beginning. So I just want to avoid this as much as possible.
Wow. That's about as dark as we've gotten from here.
Hey, she's an inspiration, but I'm just saying, in the setting of being on a deserted island, she would. I think you got to look at like who's going to be an assist to me, who's going to be able to help me survive, and this person. I can stand by that this person would not help me survive. I would be in a detriment, and I'd be helping that person survive longer than they would help me. You know what I mean?
You've really rationalized saying fuck blind people here.
Blind, mute, and deaf people, yeah.
Who did you have on the subs bench, out of interest, in case we crossed over?
Medi.
Not really a celebrity, but a callback to anybody who listened to season 1. Fucking yeah, that guy should have been top of everybody's list.
No, I that's all I had. I had another guy, but I don't think he was that funny. The other person I had was James Corden.
The only sub I listed was Rebel Wilson.
Oh,
I actually would have had a number 1 if it was just not to do with funny, but I just find her really just unenjoyable from start to finish.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna also, if we're on the, there's one that I wasn't going to get into, but Amy Schumer, because she steals other people's jokes.
Yeah, I get it.
But no, anyway, so listen. We'll on this next Sunday, people will get to vote on the top 5 that they think is the best of the top 5 worst celebrities to be stuck on an island with. So Sid's list includes James Corden, Kim Kardashian, Piers Morgan, Chris Brown, Kim Jong-un. What a great list. And my top 5 worst celebrities to be stuck on an island with is Jeff Epstein, of course, Ginger Spice, Genghis Khan, Will Smith, and that girl, Helen Keller. So go ahead and vote on this Sunday for which team you think is the best. Anyway, Sid, listen, man, always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to hearing more of your stories that are still gonna be happening, because I know you and you don't leave a country until something fucked up happens to you. So I'm really looking forward to have this next conversation through a jail cell in Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but not at the same time, because I could just imagine.
I'll start saving for the bail money.
How forgiving Ramadan is going to be for me in the jail cell. Fuck.
But anyways, dude, this was awesome. Always appreciate you coming on, and we will talk to you, I guess, soon enough after your Saudi trip. Looking forward to it, dude.
Peace out, brother. Or shukran, as we say in the Middle East.
Wagwan.
Thank you for listening to Two Beers Till Takeoff. Do you want free additional content or just to stay connected with the show? Then give us a follow on our social media platform. That means TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of them. Are you in need of podcast production services, video editing, or anything in between? Then look no further than Strut Sound Productions, the official producer of the Two Beers Till Takeoff podcast. Music produced by Alex Gagné. Check out his work in our show notes. Voiceover done by Viking Leo K. See you next week on Two Beers Till Takeoff.